Oh, this is perfect snowball snow. Yeah.
Hey, I'm walking here!
Huh. So, should you buy an XJ Cherokee in 2024? Yes. So I think this is a really interesting question because there's a lot of vehicles out there that are like the XJ Cherokee that can do the same thing, sometimes even better, sometimes does even more. But I want to talk about why this vehicle in particular is such a great option to get. So before we get into the 3 reasons why I think you guys should buy an XJ Cherokee in 2024, I just wanted to give you a quick little rundown of mine and why I bought it. So I've had this is a 1997, I've had it for about a year now. This Jeep has kind of become my gateway drug into off-roading and wheeling. I originally bought this Jeep to do that specifically because I have only ever had a truck, like a full-size truck, and I would go off-roading with that, and I really enjoyed that, but it just never felt like it was quite the right vehicle to really go and do the things that I wanted to do, and pushing that truck was not really the best idea. So I decided to start looking for something that would kind of fill that category, that empty space of what I wanted to do. And so I started looking into the Cherokees. One, because I really like the look of these. I think they look great. They have kind of a boxy design to them, and it's kind of really aged well. 2, it fit into my price range, which I'll get into that a little bit later. But I have really enjoyed driving this Jeep. It's been super fun to drive. I've broken a lot of things on it. I've added a lot of things to it, and I will continue to add things because I admittedly use and abuse this Jeep. You know, I don't have any regrets because that's exactly why I bought it, and I've learned a lot of new skills, and I'm going to continue to learn new skills with it. So with all of that being said, here are 3 reasons why I think you should buy an XJ Cherokee in 2024. My first reason is price and cost to maintain. So your mileage may vary, literally. I picked up this Jeep for $2,500, so USD, and it had some issues. It was labeled as a project vehicle, and I was advised not to drive it on the road. $2,500, I've put about, with the tires, I'm probably into this Jeep about $3,500, maybe $3,700. That's a very low cost of entry into this sport. If you compare that to a lot of other vehicles, it's very cheap. You can get a brand new Wrangler, but that's gonna run you, $20,000 plus. I really do think that that's one of the biggest selling points for these XJ Cherokees. People kind of use them as trash vehicles, I guess you could say, especially the off-roading world, because these you can pick up for cheap, throw some parts at them, go wheeling with them, have a good time for a couple years, and then just trash them and get another one. Other people buy them and they keep them really clean and stock, and they drive really well, and they keep them for 20 plus years, who knows. Because of that, they are fairly cheap to get into comparatively to at least the other Jeep models and some of the other 4-wheel drive vehicles. I know that there's a lot of XJ Cherokees on your local classifieds that range from, $3,000 to as high as $12,000. What? Which is kind of ridiculous, but those are like the low mileage, super clean, barely even touched, barely even driven. In my personal opinion, a clean, unmolested XJ Cherokee that is in good working mechanical condition and has minimal body and rust is a big one, minimal damage, I think an appropriate price range between that is around $2,500 to $6,000 or $7,000 max for a stock unmolested XJ. Now, people are starting to realize the capability of these, and they're starting to rise in price, which is really unfortunate for the consumer, me and you, because there's a lot of vehicles out there that are doing this, but this one in particular is not worth that much. I don't think that they were built to a standard that requires a high asking price. That's why I got this one for so cheap. 1, it was project. 2, it's not worth that much money. I would be very hesitant to go out and buy an XJ that is more than $6,000 or $7,000, even with modifications, because then you don't know the build history, you don't know if the parts were done right. If you go out and you find one that is within that price category that does have a lot of modifications, that can be a huge price save for you, because those modifications that you plan on doing have already been done. So you can use that money that you planned on using on those modifications for other things, bigger tires, something else in your life. Keep that in mind when you're looking for these, because I got this one with a 4.5-inch lift already, all new suspension components. It was just some stuff with the engine and a little bit of the electrical was having issues. So keep that in mind when you're looking for an XJ. These are really good because they're cheap and they're cheap fun. So the second point on that is the maintenance cost. These are super cheap and very simple to work on. These are inline sixes, and everything in the vehicle is put on with Phillips screws. So it's super easy to take apart and work on. In the year that I've owned this, just in maintenance costs, not the parts that I've broken, but I've probably spent less than $300 in maintenance parts just in the year that I've owned this. And that's like oil, filter, spark plugs, you know, all the basic stuff. So parts are highly available for these Cherokees. The 4-liter that's in these was used in tons of the Wranglers, all in those similar years. So parts are very available and they're very cheap. So working on this is kind of the equivalent to a Honda Civic, and it's just very cheap to own and maintain. Now, my number 2 reason why you should buy an XJ Cherokee is reliability. The 4-liter inline 6 that are in these Jeeps were built by AMC, and they are renowned for being incredibly bulletproof and reliable. My Jeep has 230,000 miles on the original engine, as far as I know, and the original transmission, as far as I know. And it runs like a top. That is, except for when I'm on inclines and oil pressure goes down low, but it still runs great, even at lower oil pressure. There's not many engines out there that sit that high on the reliability podium, I guess you could say. It kind of falls up there with like the small block Chevy, the 12-valve Cummins, the inline 300 from Ford. It's up there with those kings because it deserves that spot. It's a very reliable engine. It can go through a lot. I've definitely pushed my personal Jeep very hard, and it just keeps running, you know. I go wheeling in Moab and Little Moab here in Utah, and I've gone to 5 Mile Pass. There's a bunch of trails that I've been to with my family and friends, and I've really pushed this Jeep hard, and it just keeps going. And it's kind of a testament to the 4-liter and how reliable it is, how much it can just hold up to. The transmission is also very, very reliable. This is, I believe, the AX4. I can't remember. It's the automatic 4-speed that came with these. Manual transmissions that came with these are also very robust. There's the AX15 and the NV3550. Those are both very reliable, robust transmissions, and you can almost be guaranteed to not have many issues with them. Another point of reliability that I want to point out is these XJs are solid axles. So they are not independent front suspension, which means they track a lot easier on the road. They're a lot easier to do alignments on. They're a lot easier to do work on. There's less moving parts than an independent front suspension. And really, most of the off-roaders out there will agree that a solid front axle is actually superior to an independent front suspension for rock climbing and your general off-road, unless you're doing like desert racing where you do high-speed maneuvers and stuff like that. You can rest assured that if anything does go wrong with your XJ, parts are just a click or a quick drive away, and they're very easy to grab and get. One quick little runner-up bonus point that I want to throw in is these are highly customizable. There's a lot of companies out there that produce aftermarket parts for these. You have some big hitter names like Smittybilt, JCR Off-Road, Rusty's Off-Road. They all make parts for these XJ Cherokees that both increase the reliability and the durability. And now the third and final point that I wanted to give you guys on why I think you should buy an XJ Cherokee in 2024 is utility. Most Jeeps are the Swiss Army knife of vehicles, and the XJ Cherokee is no exception. You can pretty much do anything with these. You can drive them to work, you can drive them on road trips, you can drive them off-road, you can go super hardcore wheeling with them, you can drive them in the winter. They're just so usable. You can take them camping. I've slept in this Jeep a couple of times camping. They're just so usable in everyday life. The back seats fold down and you can fit so much stuff in there. When I was moving, I was able to fit a ton of totes and stuff in the back that I couldn't otherwise fit in a car or a sedan. You can put tons of groceries back there when you go shopping. You can fit like a 65-inch flat screen TV in the back. There's just so much you can do with the usable cargo space inside the XJ Cherokee. Personally, I love driving this around town. Turning radius on these XJ Cherokees is surprisingly really good. I just had back surgery a couple of weeks ago, and I actually prefer to drive this around rather than my Honda Civic. One, because it's easier to get into, and two, the suspension is just so much softer, and it's just so much easier to drive around town. The turning radius is just bizarrely good. Getting in and out of parking spots in the grocery store and at like Walmart, stuff like that, it's crazy how good it is, and I was never expecting that when I got this. As you can see, I've got a few light bars on mine. I've got larger tires. This is kind of my everyday vehicle when I'm not driving to work. I love to take it to the grocery store because I can fit so much in there. I love to take it camping because I can fit all of my camping gear in there without having to get a trailer or put it in somebody else's vehicle. And all of that, I can sleep in there too when I'm camping. I've also taken this shooting. We can throw a bunch of guns in the back. It's so usable, and it's so nice to be able to have all that space and the ground clearance with the four-wheel drive to get wherever you want to go. So if you're more of an outdoorsy person, if you like to go shooting a lot, if you like to go camping a lot, this is an excellent vehicle to get because it does all of that with flying colors. Those are the three reasons why I think an XJ Cherokee is an excellent purchase in 2024. Yes, there's a lot of options out there that arguably are better and some maybe even worse for less or more money, but I really do think and I firmly believe that the XJ Cherokee is an excellent purchase and you will not regret it, especially if you get it for a good price. Whether you end up absolutely destroying it by going off-road or you end up keeping it for another 25 years, I really think that you will not be disappointed in buying an XJ Cherokee. I think you will fall in love with it, and it's amazing how many you see out on the road because they're just so robust and reliable, and they just look great. They're so much fun to drive, they're very easy to drive, and they're very usable. So, thanks for watching, guys. Those are my top 3 reasons why I think an XJ Cherokee is an excellent purchase in 2024. If you guys like this video, I have tons of other videos on my channel where I have this, and I go lots of places with it. I have a really good time. So I work on it a lot. If you guys want to stay tuned on what I do with this Jeep, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And then you get to see all the stuff that is coming for the Jeep, and there is a lot that I plan to do. So, thanks again, and I will see you guys in the next video.